Right, Paul, I think this is your 16th season as chairman. Overall thoughts on it?
Well, it's a long time, isn't it? It's been an enjoyable season. I think obviously it's had frustrations, but I think overall we've got to be really, really well pleased with what we've achieved or what Mark's achieved. I think if we can have seasons like this on a regular basis, where you get a good cut run and perform as well as we did in the league, it's exceptional. I think what's been particularly great this year is the home record. It's nice to sort of get results in front of your home fans. I think the season before we had a better away record than we did, but to have such a good home record, to win so many games, is really positive. It's disappointing that we lost to Northampton. I thought we were the better footballing side, but sometimes that doesn't necessarily bring results. And I wouldn't want to be playing football the way Northampton play football. I thought we gave it a really good go. We beat them twice in the league, which is, I suppose, even more frustrating. We beat them twice in the league and then lost them in the playoff. But no, I've been delighted with the relationship I have with Mark and the rest of the management team. Very pleased that we were able to support Mark in January in the transfer window with the success in the FA Cup, putting some money into strengthening the squad. And it's just a shame that we weren't able just to quite get to Wembley or quite make it to the playoffs. It would have been an outstanding season. We all really, really wanted to get into the automatics this time round. And so that's a disappointment, but I'm really delighted with everything that's happened this season. The crowds were disappointing for perhaps the first half of the season, perhaps the first 2/3 of the season, but certainly the last third of the season they picked up well. And I'm looking forward to seeing our financial result for the season, which I'm hoping will be another positive one, given that we did put quite a lot of money into the playing budget in January. It won't be the great result we perhaps could have had if we hadn't put that money into the playing budget, but we are a football club, and where we can, we want to try and give Mark the best budget we can.
Yeah, because you came so close last year at Wembley and you look like you had a chance of automatic this year, everyone's obviously disappointed, but do you think for Cheltenham to be finishing 5th in League 2 is still punching above weight? Or is it?
There's no question we're punching above weight, and I think we've done that ever since we got into the Football League, to be honest. But I was just saying to you earlier, Yeovil, their budget is less than ours, and it just goes to show that it's not all about budget. Bradford and Northampton, as I said, had budgets twice as much as ours. And they haven't actually performed that much better than us in terms of we finished both of those in the league over the course of the normal season. So it's about the skill of the manager, it's about the strength of the management team, and I think one of the key things is we have that stability here with Mark and Neil, with Wezzo. We're very lucky, and I think one of the important things I want to try and do this close season is make sure we keep that management team together. There's always temptations, and we want to try and make sure we keep what has been a very successful team together there, and obviously keep together the bulk of the squad, and show the fans that we are once again keen to push on next season, to emulate what we've done in the last couple of seasons, and perhaps third time lucky, go up automatically under Yates. I mean, Yates is Mark and Neil are here for another year. I've already said I want to talk to them about extending their contract, and we'll be doing that soon. So it's quite, as ever, there's quite a lot of work to be done in the close season. I'm looking forward to the break from active football, but nevertheless there will be lots of meetings. Our first meeting will be on Monday, looking again at the budget situation for Mark.
Yeah, Sir Alex Ferguson announcing he's going to retire at the end of the season. That means Mark Yates is the 11th longest serving in the country. Do you think, would you like to get him extended before the start of next season? Is it something that you think will happen during the summer?
Yeah, I mean, he's here obviously for the fall of next season. But I think also when you're signing players, I think players often come because of who the manager is, and I think if the manager knows he's going to be here for a couple of years and he's offering players a 2-year contract, I think that gives additional security for the player to sign. And I think job security is important to all of us, no different to football managers whose job is particularly insecure, and the fact that Mark is now the 11th longest serving manager, having only been with us for 3.5 years, says it all really. You know, we've had our fair share of managers, but where we've had a good manager like John Ward, like Steve Quattrell, you know, we've done our very, very best to hang on to them, and Mark fits into that category without question, and so I'm hoping, you know, I know he's happy here. I'm pretty sure he wants to stay beyond next year. But if he carries on being successful as he has been, we've already had interest from other clubs, as you know, and who's to say that won't happen again?
Yeah. We know that you gave him a little bit more money to play with. The season just finished. How do you think the budget next season will? I know you've got to finalise things, but roughly speaking, budget-wise next season, do you think it'll be the same, a little bit more, a little bit less?
Well, I don't think it'll be any more. You know, when I look at what other clubs are going through, it is tough out there. The settlement we're getting via the Premiership. I mean, the Premiership got a massive, huge sponsorship deal with Sky. And we get a solidarity payment down from the Premiership, and I think we were all hopeful that we might see an increase in that, which we haven't, not particularly anyway. So it's going to be very, very tight again. I'm desperately keen to make sure we don't get ourselves into financial difficulty, which clubs have done. I mean, Aldershot, you know, they were £1 million in debt before they got relegated to the conference, so I think they would have struggled even if they stayed in League Two to have survived with that sort of level of debt. And we obviously Bury have got their own problems, Wickham have got problems as I understand it, so you know we don't want to be going back there, and I think what people in Cheltenham and football fans in Cheltenham want to know is that they've got a club which is going to be here today, here tomorrow and here beyond that, and we're not going to risk putting crazy budgets together anymore that risk the future of the club. So, going back to your original question, John, I think we will be endeavouring to give Mark a similar budget to the one that he was working with last year.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm not going to go through all the players that are out of contract this summer, but there's one player I'd like to speak about. It's Marlon Pack. I mean, absolutely distraught after the game.
Yeah.
You know, everything points towards the fact that he's going to get an offer from a club that can offer him far more money. Will he go with your blessing if that is the case?
I think I said after the match that you know, Marlon, you can clearly accept the emotions that he was going through with the penalty save, but I think for his contribution to this football club since he's been here has been immense. The fact that he's got in the League Two player team of the year on consecutive seasons, and arguably I would say his best season was last season. I don't think he had such a strong season this year, although he certainly came, after the Swindon situation he came back and was a different player, I think. So he's been immense for us. He's a lovely guy, and we have offered him terms. We would like to keep him, but we're realists, and you know, he's young and he can play at a high level. And if he goes, he'll go with our blessing. But rest assured, as far as the fans are concerned, we should be doing our very, very best to keep him. And if we can't keep him, to make sure we get the best value that we can in the transfer market, or if we can't agree a transfer fee with a club, we will then have to go to a tribunal and get the very best we can for him. So, you know, it's either we keep Marlon or we say goodbye to Marlon with our blessing and thanks, and hopefully we get some decent receipts which we can put back into the playing budget. Yeah.
In your experience, I mean, we know Swindon offered a significant fee for him in January. Have you got any idea what do you expect from him with him being out of contract? I mean, what can you expect from a player?
I'm not going to put any figures to that because you know, we know that Swindon offered £100,000 for him, and that's a player who's in contract. So I really don't know, John. It would depend on which clubs come. I mean, you know, a club like Bournemouth appears to have no end of money, but they're now in the Championship. So whether a Championship club will come in from Marlon now, or whether it be a League One club, you know, there aren't loads of clubs out there flush with money. You know, I don't think we're not going to be going into the transfer market spending money on players. Most teams in League Two won't be either, and most in League One won't be. So, you know, there'll be a select number of clubs who are looking to sign Marlon, who are prepared to pay what will effectively be a fairly modest transfer fee given his contractual situation.
Yeah. The last couple of things. Are you confident that Mark can keep all the other players that he wants to keep, with the out of contract players? So you might have a battle to keep one or two of them, or do you think the ones that he wants to keep he will be able to?
I mean, I am quietly confident that he will be able to keep the players that he wants to keep. You know, there will clearly be interest for some of our players. I would be disappointed if there wasn't, given how well we've done. There will be clubs out there who will be able to offer higher wages than we can. So there will be clubs out there looking to tap up our players, agents looking to tap up and settle our players. I'm hopeful that the players Mark wants to keep will want to stay, because they've enjoyed working with Mark and Neil. They've enjoyed playing for Cheltenham Town. We're a club who looks after our players and I think treats them properly and appreciates them. But I also am well aware that it's a very, very short career, and if they can move to another club and earn another £200 or £400 a week, it's a really difficult one for them not to do that. But there are certainly 2 or 3 players out of contract which we are determined to try and retain the services of.
Yeah, and finally, last season people were saying it was some of the best football Cheltenham have ever played, but maybe a little bit soft towards the end of the season. This season it was a lot more solid, most clean sheets in the division. Do you think it's now a balancing act between the two? Because Mark he is showing that he's learned from certain situations, but you just got to sort of can't sacrifice one for the other, can you?
Yeah, I think Mark will clearly be looking at the goal scoring issue. I mean, we don't need to look at the goals conceded issue. We've got a fantastic goalkeeper, and we've been very well organised and very solid. But it's not just about the goal scorers. It is about the creativity and getting and the crosses we're getting in. And I think that that's probably been an area that Mark would want to be looking at. And I think when we talk to him about the players, I think we'd quite like to have an understanding from him too about what sort of system he's looking at, because clearly we had players last season who were signed but didn't really fit into the system that we are playing, and therefore clearly Duffy and Harrod didn't get nearly as much football as I thought they would get, as any other football fan would have thought they would have got, and indeed probably as Mark would have thought when he signed them. So I think there needs to be perhaps greater clarity of systems, because we haven't got money that we can really afford for players earning decent amounts to be on the bench on a regular basis. Yep. Our top earners need to be playing, and clearly the likes of Duffy and Harrod were amongst our top earners.
Yeah. Okay, Paul. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.